So yesterday we left at a session where we were discussing about some flows and we realized that we are not able to get an error. Let's do and debug what exactly we are getting as an error. Debug. Just a recap on yesterday, last connect. So the question run latest, okay, that's fine. And I'm passing my input as ILK, and if I say that hard, and ideally we'll be getting an error saying that unhandled fault error. This is an error. So the question I have asked, how can we add this validation error? Now understand in the debug details here in the right side. Understand the debug details, okay? Now here you can see in the debug details, sorry. So whether it is going to the screen, new account name and we are creating it, drop down we are selected as hot, well and good, and assignment is happening, right? Hot and cold, and create records is happening, and then what is not happening here? It is directly going to the error record. But ideally we have another decision called decision, right? Whether decision is executing or decision is not executing here. Whether your flow is reaching decision checks or it is not reaching to a decision checkbox from this. Will you able to see anything called decision here? No, right? So it means that your flow is not executing your decision. Your flow is not executing your decision. So ideally what is happening in this scenario? Ideally what is happening in this scenario? The flow is getting an error in this location. The flow is getting error in this location. It is directly calling your exception. It is directly calling your exception. So it means your flow is actually got terminated here itself. It is not even going in this place. It is not going in this place. Now what we need to do in order to correct, whenever any record creation happens, there is another drag line called fault line. What is that called? Fault line. So we have another drag line called fault line. The I mean, fault line will help us to handle your error message. Let's say if I'm dragging and dropping my fault line, okay, and I'm save as, we need to save. Let me run a debug in this case. Debug, close, run new, and I'll say ILK, and I'll select hot. Next, the error occurred, custom field validation exception, no new account creation allowed. Now you can able to see, isn't it? Will you be able to see now? What we have done in this case? Fault line. So whenever the main intention, whenever you are handling any errors at a component, at a variable called flow.fault message, flow.fault message, it should be handled in the very next step where you are getting your exception. It should not be propagated. It should not be propagated any other step. If it goes from out from this step, then fault message will be defaulted to unhandled exception. So that's how it works. Clear? Any question on this? How to handle? Will you able to handle your validation errors? Yes, we can able to handle errors. How can we able to handle errors? Having a fault line from the DML operations. Clear? Okay. Let's go back and I'm not making any changes. I'll do one thing. Let's go to object manager. I'll deactivate the validation rule that we created wantedly. Validation rules. No account allowed, so I'm taking off this account. This is where we write like is active, is new record, it should be false. And when we done that, now let me create a contact and observe the steps that while creating a contacts. Okay, observe the steps while I'm creating a contacts. Presume text. I'm going to a contacts. I'm creating a new. When I'm creating a new, what exactly it is asking? Mentor network and student, isn't it? What it is asking? Mentor and student. So we need to select a record type. We need to select a record type and then we need to create a contact. So without record type, you will not able to create, isn't it? Without record type, you will not able to create a contact. In order to create, what is required? Last name is required, account name is required, and your course name is required, and then course duration and experience as a mentor is a required fields. In order to save your contact information, what are the fields are required? Your record type is required. What is required? Your record type is required, and then this is the first one is required. Last name, account name. These are the three, and there are other things called course name and experience. I mean, course name, experience as a mentor, or course duration. These are the information that we require currently. So I need to create a flow where I need to create a new contact by selecting account name, course name, and then I'll fill my last name. Okay. I need to create a flow. Now, earlier it was a simple fields. Now we are talking about finding another record as a relationship and then I need to create a flow. So let's create a flow now. Let's create a flow. Can we name as create new account, new contact? Can we name this flow as a create new contact? And we'll be creating a screen flow. And do you want to create with auto layout or freeform layout? Which one you prefer? Last time we did with freeform. So you wanted to continue with freeform or with the auto layout? Auto layout. Okay. So there is no difference in auto layout. The only thing is that you don't define your variables on your own. You have to define like manually. Now I'll create a new screen. Account information. Information. So I need to get an account information. So in account information, in this screen, user will select the account details. So this is my flow done, and then I'll say that lookup. There is a field called lookup. Here you can see there is a lookup, isn't it? So I can use lookup and object name I'll say that account lookup, and field name. What is the field name that we need to use? Field name is the field. In which object you are writing this? Contact object. You wanted to create a contact, right? In contact, the account API name is account ID. In contact account field API name, account name is account ID. Label is account name. What is the object name here? What is the source object? In which object you have that field? You have in contact object. Maximum selections. We can discuss this maximum selections, right? Maximum selection in the sense one is the default value if you don't enter. If you enter like two or three, you can select up to two or three accounts. That's a different story. We can discuss. And ideally, we don't have a default record type. Record ID collections. We don't have a record ID collection so that you can display only those records. And this is a required. Currently, it is not required. Manually assign variables, use values from the user last visited screen. So the way you wanted to display lookup value. So this we can discuss little later. Here we need to understand little bit about your Apex coding too, how the list views and everything works. So we can get back here while building our Lightning Web components or a Aura components. Okay, the advanced concept. So I got this. I'll go to navigation banner, footer, use standard label, use custom label. I'll say that. Next are finish button label. I'll say that. Okay, I don't want to do it for now. Let's use standard. Use standard label, use custom label, previous button, custom label, go back. I'll say that go back. Hold. Instead of pause, I'll say hold. Next, I'll say confirm. I'll go back to screen to see. Finish, hold, go back. So hold is a pause that way process. Okay, well and good. And what I want to display in the next screen? We also need to select our course detail, right? There is other field called course, isn't it? We have a course name, right? Course duration or course name. So let's go to Object Manager, Contact, Fields and Relationships, and we have a course name. What is the course name API name? Is lookup to course detail and name is course name. Go back and I'll add one more lookup field and I add one more lookup field. Where exactly it is? I'm not able to see it. Okay, here it is. Lookup. API name is course name lookup. Field API name is your field API name which you copied from an object, and field label is course name. Object name is contact, and I'm not doing anything here. But I'm just making one thing here. I'm just making sure one thing. I'll say required equal to true because these values are required. So I'll say that global constant true, which is required, and same way I'll do for required, which is true. So I got two labels. Let me debug it. Let me say saying that new contact, say debug. I can able to select account names, well and good. I can able to select my course name. So our lookups are working absolutely fine. Our lookups are working absolutely fine. Any question till here? We can add what is the how you understood how to add the flows. Let me show you back. If it is a lookup field, imagine object API name always your child object name, and field name is a field which is available in a child object. So you will not write anything related to parent. The Salesforce, the field, lookup field itself will understand what is the data that it need to be pulled down. Okay, clear? Okay. Now, what is the next step that we need to do? What is the next step? Now, if I got account ID, I got account, I got course name. Now I need to store those values to a contact, isn't it? Isn't it? So for that, create record. So ideally, instead of create record, I need to create another screen so that I can enter my first name, last name, and all this stuff, isn't it? So let's go to text. Where is my text? We can do that, but I have an intention. See, you can add all those fields you can add here, but I want to display the output of the selected names also. I was just wanted to show two examples in the same situation. So here you can add your input fields and you can assign and you can continue. There is no harm. But here what I want to do is a different story. Screen, so text, first name. Okay. I need to create a new source ideally. Let me create a new source. I'll say variable. In freeform layout, you can able to define source separately, but here you need to define source whenever there is a demand, okay? That's the difference. Here you need to have a more planned way. There you can actually define all your variables first, what exactly you needed. New contact. Data type is record, and I need to select only one, so I'll say contact. So I created my contact as a new variable. Okay. Now text last name default value is not there, which is required field. And one more thing is I'll select what is the other field that we have? Experience as a mentor, right? But experience as a mentor is not a text. Delete. We have number. Experience as mentor. Default value should I decimal places is 0, so we're not giving a decimal places even here, and we have a course duration. So we have another field called course duration. So well and good. And I want to display my set component visibility. On lookup, I'll say that account name, field name is account ID, field label is account name, object is contact, which is goes as same, but here you have record ID. Enter the record ID. Here you can say account lookup record ID. Account lookup record ID. So what I'm doing, I'm just reading those selected values to my account name in the customer screen. And I'll add one more field here called course detail. Course detail ID, and I say course. Okay. What is the field name that we need to copy? Course name. Let's go back and say that here course name, object API name, contact, and record ID. I'll say course name lookup. Okay, this is collection. Course name lookup record ID, and I delete my. What else is required? Only 3 fields. Yes, done. You have 2 errors. What is the 2 errors that I'm getting? What are the 2 errors? Oh, invalid screen. Contact information. Okay. Now what is next step? We got account name, we got contact information. What is missing here? In all these cases, what is missing? Assignment is missing first. We got first name, last name, and everything as a simple text field. Now we need to map this data to an object, isn't it? So we are missing with assignments. We are missing with assignment. So do an assignment. New contact data assignment. So what is the variable we have? We have new contact, first name equals, in the lookup field you have first name, right? in the screen flow. This is a screen flow field. I mean, this is a screen field. This is an object field. I'll say that new contact last name equals from the screen. I'll select last name. So it is very important whenever you are defining your variables, ensure that they have a meaning so that you can understand later. New contact course duration equals course duration new contact dot experience as mentor equals experience as mentor and new contact account ID equals, you have two options. Either you can select from account lookup ID by selecting record ID is one way. Let me do here this. And you also have another option to select from the flow screen. In flow screen, we also created one more variable, right? You remembered? Course name equals, in flow screen, let's say course name lookup is our first screen component where you added lookup. But there is another field that we created called course ID, detail ID, right? You can use this or you can use this. Now in this case, I'll use course detail ID. I can able to select even this. Either I can use any of these screens. So whatever I need like first name, last name is required field, account and course is required, course duration and this one. Okay, 1 minute. Course duration, experience as a mentor, course mentor. What are the fields that we required here? Three fields and two fields. Okay. So whatever the required fields I have added. What is the next step that we need to do? What is the next step? We got a screen one, we got screen two, we got screen assignment, and then now it's a time to insert. But what is actually missing here? You are missing one point. On click of new, what it is asking? Record type. Now I wanted to create a mentor record type. Now I wanted to create a mentor type. How can I do that? How can I check it? So I need to use a functionality called get records. I need to use a functionality called get record so that I can query my record types. Contact record types. What is the object name? Record type. What is the object name that I need to use? Record type. So in the record type, what is the fields that I need to query? S object. No, no, no. S object type name equals contact. And then add condition. Record developer name equal to mentor. Now what I'll get? I'll get as a mentor, right? Yes or no? Yeah. Salesforce object. S object means Salesforce object. All your custom, standard, everything goes as a generic object name called S object. Record type is a common object. So if you want to create a record type in different objects, so all this information will be stored under as a S object. That's how the Salesforce schema implemented in back. So this is also a field name. Let's say if I go to record type, SOAP API. So this is a Salesforce documentation where you can refer the record type fields, backend fields. Here you can see business process, developer name, each person, and we have a subject. Pick list, create filter, group of restricted pick list source, object to which record type is applies, including custom objects. A subject means S object, Salesforce object, and it is saying which type. So S object type. Now S object type in my case is contact, and the developer name is record mentor. So only the first record automatically store our fields. Yes. Developer name is given as per, if I can go to the record types, you can see mentor. If I open this mentor, you have a record type name mentor. If it has, this is a developer name. Record type name is a developer name. Record type name is a developer name. Clear? This is a label. In this case, it's just a single word. You don't find any difference. If it is a mentor record, mentor contact, then mentor space contact will go in label. But in record type name, which is nothing but your API, mentor underscore name. So I'm storing my first record. Okay, well and good. So is that okay to do assignment and then contact record, or do assignment and then do get contact records and then do assignment? Which one is best one? Now I need to write another assignment. Okay. Now I'll say cut element. I can do that. I can paste it. What I have done? I have cutted here and I pasted above. So it means you don't want to delete and then do it. You can actually cut and paste your, I mean, blocks, logical blocks. Okay. Clear? Yeah. But don't try this cut and paste in freeform layout. This works for auto layout. Freeform layout, you have arrow marks. You can drag and drop, right? You can delete line. You can draw a new line. There you have a line concept. Here you have a cut and copy paste. So I'll assign my record type ID equals record type from contacts, which is nothing but my record type ID. Done. What is the next step that I need to take care from the previous example? Okay, what is the next step that we need to do now? We got screen, we got input, we got record type, we got assignment, and then we need to create, right? We need to create. So I'll be taking up my create elements. Create contacts. One or multiple, I'll say that. Use all the values. How many records you wanted to create? Only one record. So I'll say one record. Now you need to create a new contact. Done. So what is the next step that we need to do now? Is that all, or is there anything else we need to worry about? Hmm? Okay, we can make a screen. So we can say screen. Or is that okay to have a screen directly, or it is required to have like decision? We have to make a decision. Decision is contact process, and I'll say new outcome is success. How can I ensure that success? New contact ID not equal to null, right? If contact ID is not equal to null, it means is null. I'll say that false, which is proper, and default outcome is default outcome. It's okay. Say is success. Now started. Screen confirmation screen. What is confirmation here? Display text. Success MSG. Contact created successfully. Earlier I showed you how to add a hyperlink. In this case, I'm not showing you up the hyperlink. Else even you can do this. Copy the URL. Currently we don't have that URL. Otherwise, organization. And then insert new contact. Where is this new contact dot ID? So this will go as this message, contact created successfully. I'll make as a green. Done. What is the next one that we need to worry about? what we need to worry about? Error message. But the problem here is how can I draw my fault message here? In auto layout, how can I ensure that I'll draw my fault message? There is no way that I can write my fault message in auto layout. You understood now? The problem here is I don't have a chance that I can able to continue. So what I need to do, let's save this. Let's save this and I'll switch to freeform layout. Now I have an option that I can able to drag my default line. For example, I can create a new screen, processing error, and I'll have my default screen. So this is why we have that freeform layout still. This is how we have freeform, and I can say error confirmation. This is API name. Okay, error confirmation, and I'll say insert. What is the fault message? That how can we add fault message through flow, right? Flow fault message at a red. Done. Save. Oh yeah. That's what it was showing me an error. Save. Okay, now it's gone. Auto layout. Now we got see. You have to have little toggles between that screen to this screen in order to add these exceptional conditions. Clear? Now we back to fault, I mean auto layout, but still we there are ways that fault message, there are some other lines you can't draw in auto layout because you don't have the drawing capacity here, right? Clear? Yeah. Now let debug it. First we'll do a debug and then we'll see whether the contact is really creating or not. What is the account name? I'll select Hiran, I'll select Salesforce. Next. Okay, whatever the selected values we can able to see, isn't it? So it means that we're good. We didn't run anything wrong. I'll say ILD, experience 1, course duration 1, and I'll say next, created successfully. It means our flow is working as expected, right? Let's go back and activate it. And tell me how to call a contact, the flow. Tell me how to call a flow from a URLs. How can I call this flow from a URL? Okay, let me go to home and I'll edit my home page. I'll edit my home page. There are ways, okay. Now we are editing Lightning App Builder home page, okay. We are editing Lightning App Builder home page. If we can scroll down, you have you have a flow. There is a flows. Drag and drop that component wherever you like to add flow, and I'll keep little above. And what is the flow? Book appointment. I don't want this. I'll need new contact. What flow I need? New contact. So one column or two column, I'll say that one column layout. I'll say that save. Activate it. Just allow me a moment. Uh-huh. So I'll say that I'll assign. So we discussed this how to set up this layout, but again we can also revisit again. So now I'm creating a default home page. I'm editing it. I'm making that entire organization will go as the same. So I'm saying that org as default. Save. Let's go back. So we discussed in the previous class how to access your screen flow through URL. Now you can see how to access through flow. Now if you user wanted to create their things, if they wanted to create a new contact, they can able to say Salesforce next. Everything is able to do in the same screen saying that Lakshmi in good thing. Experience 9, 9, he run and everything is fine, and I'll say next. The record is created successfully, right? Alright, let's go back and see. Is that fine to display always new contact by saying this, or do you want to do, or you wanted to give an option saying that do you want to create a new contact? If you click yes, then continue. If you click no, you don't want to grow. So you can also add those type of screen flows. You can think about very innovative whatever you wanted. But what we have discussed now is something like how can you call, how can you add your lookup fields, and how can you make a fault messages today, right? Anything you have observed this today, like how you are doing? Any other new things that you saw from yesterday's to today? Yeah. And one more thing important, if you are in an auto layout, you should not think that this is not possible. You have to convert yourself to freeform. The freeform layout is a complete package features. Auto layout is on a beta, okay?